Krafty, it is an honor to have you on here. And now, for those of you who aren't familiar with how I like to have guests, I like to bring on people who either they have something that they want to say, they have something to say that I think people ought to hear, or it's a whole community that I think we need to hear. And I think that we're missing out on a huge, very robust European atheist community. And so, representing that community here tonight is Krafty Keelah.
Oh, if I'm representing them, they're screwed. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, tell us
But
a little
we'll
bit
have
about
fun.
yourself. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Okay, so my channel set up about a year and a half ago, after having a flat earth person on my farm. Because you can see there in the picture, I have a goat in my picture. I used to run a goat farm. So one of the guys that came to volunteer on that farm was a complete flat earther, anti-vaxxer, believed in Bigfoot, believed in incredible theories that I'd never even heard before. So my schooling is in sociology, and a lot of the things that he would come out with just didn't sit right with history and sociological thinking. So when he left the house, he was no longer a flat earther. So I believe I won. But in the process, of course, I tried to look up the hard sciences because I never really did science in school. And so I kind of educate myself that way through some incredible creators, put me onto places that I could actually learn um, without teachers that aim to bring you down, because we all have those. That's not to excuse all of the fabulous educators that we have in the world, and thank you for what you do. But my time in school wasn't the greatest, so to have those as backup, then what I wanted to do was to bring the sociology side of things. Why is it that people believe what they believe? How is it that societies change? And a big thing for me was explaining that just because you believe in a conspiracy, it doesn't mean that you're just stupid. And that's what I saw coming out of a lot of the debunk community at the time. That if you were a flat earther, if you were a cultist, if you were a conspiracy believer, that you were just stupid. And I didn't like it. So my voice was to explain where those ideas come from and why people choose to believe them. And I think I've done a good job with that. And then
You
also
have.
to introduce the sociology side of things that a lot of people that looked at debunking wouldn't have thought of. And it's fun. It's been fun.
No, and that's one thing that got me super interested in having you on as a guest, because you have a really robust body of work. There's you have everything on there from Britney Spears to Belarus, and a nice video series on conspiracy theories and why people believe them. And it's interesting to see that beliefs like this and the way they spread seems to go across oceans, right? So the same kind of people who believe here and the same kind of people who believe over there. So it was really interesting to me to see just how widespread these beliefs can get. Um, so looking back on your work with conspiracy, like what made you want to take all that interest and turn into YouTube?
I'd never thought about having a channel before. And then I was invited onto a live stream by a YouTuber called Mr. Sensible. And he was very supportive. He was very supportive. And within that conversation, again, we had a PhD that was on the show at the same time. And there was someone from Australia who was on the show at the same time. And we all actually set up our channels on the same day, which
Oh
was
wow.
remarkable, which it never happens, but it happened. Um, and so what was coming out of that stream again was the idea of, flat earthers and conspiracy theorists are just stupid. And when I actually went in and discussed how I changed this guy's mind, not with science, but with stories, because we are emotional creatures. And if you don't understand how to talk to an emotionally based creature, you're not going to get anywhere with them. And so it was kind of reminding them to look at people where they're at, not where we want them to be. And that's where challenging conspiracies came out of. Yes, I'm challenging the conspiracy, but I'm also challenging how we react to the conspiracy. Where does the conspiracy come from? Why do we choose to believe it? Why do some choose it and not others? And that's what kind of, and it's just, at the moment, it's a brief look at the sociology of the issue. whatever
No,
issue that I choose.
it's not a brief look. You and this is one thing that really got me interested in your material. You have very long form videos, very well researched on specific individual topics. You bring people on who are very capable of speaking about it. It's such a well put together channel and well put together material. And so for those of you who have always been wondering about this is how you get on an ACA show. Okay, you find one of the hosts, you get them to be completely enamored by your content, and then you pester them into saying, hey, if you have a spot open on one of your shows, I dearly love to be on. Now, of course, in Krafty's case, I had to drag her in here kicking and screaming. um,
Not all.
no, but this is how you do it. Get your body of work out there, and it gets noticed. And the reason why I feel like we're missing out, because it's not just you, but there's a lot of other content creators over there, and we can throw out some names if we want to, of some people that this community might not have heard of. When I told people who my guest this week was going to be, the most popular answer was, "Who's Krafty Keelah?"
Yep.
And so I feel like we're missing out. And so here you are, and talking about some of your great work. If you have an opportunity to, and we'll give you a chance to later on today, but not just Krafty, but check out this whole community of wonderful people who are going through a lot of the same things that we are. And one of the things that gets to me is and we talked about this a lot in the past couple of weeks, is how as Americans there are a subset of us, and I'm included in this, who have this bias about things in America are the most important things going on, when really, being such a global community, there's stuff going on in Europe, in England, that's super important and will affect us, even if it doesn't now. I mean, like there was recent court decision over in the UK regarding trans legislation, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that happens, and we should be more aware of it. So where are you on the perception of American egocentrism?
Well, here's the thing. This is the benefit of having a global community, or communities. I use the term community quite loosely because it transcends just one group of people. Um, we can learn the lessons from other countries. We can learn the lessons from other struggles. And for myself, one of the first things that I was ever involved in general, in society, was abortion rights. And so a lot of my work at the moment is I was one of the central people in the abortion rights campaign who campaigned to get a repeal of the Eighth Amendment, which then led to the abortion ban being lifted on Ireland. And so part of what I do at the moment is not only do I do work here in Ireland on that, but also what's happening in Texas at the moment and other states around the US. So we've been through that, very, very recently. For a very long time, we've been through that. So we're able to give our experiences and what worked for us and what didn't work for us over to people in America who are dealing with the same thing that we've had to deal with. So I think one of the best things about having that global community is just learning from each other. Just learning from each other. The reason why the American centrism is happening is because for the longest time, America was the big powerhouse. They're no longer the only big powerhouse in the world. So a lot of people are now looking elsewhere as to what's happening in the world. So I'm hoping that leaves a little bit of wriggle room for creators like myself to take part in shows like this, because as I said, like, this is going on at like 1:00 for me. But I love being part of these discussions.
No, and we definitely appreciate it. It's one of the difficulties about getting European guests is because of the time difference, and how we're basically asking you to stay up until 3:00 in the morning just to do a show with little old us. And I appreciate that you're doing it. So how do you decide what you're gonna run a topic on or run a show on from show to show?
So yeah, I have 3 different shows or 4 different shows. I have Life on the Flip Side, where I have a co-host, Steaming Cup of Reason. And that's just what we do is the goat that you see in the picture here is hidden in the background of that show. Then they have to find it. And if they find it, they're the guest for the next week. So that's just a way of us getting to know our subscribers and our supporters, and just having a chat and breaking down the barriers between creator and supporter. Because I don't think there's much of a barrier, because we are supporters as much as we are creators. The second one then is Keelah Talks. So it's basically something that's been in the news recently that I feel very strongly about, and then I'll talk for about 2 hours on that. And the third one is Ion Society, and I think this is the one that you were referencing. Ion Society is a deep dive into the history of an issue. Why do we have this issue in our society? Whether it be the Free Britney movement, which a lot of people didn't understand what conservatorship is, and I see your T-shirt there, and that was my first Keelah Talks actually. But with the deep dives, it's more like Belarus. It's the big things, the global things in our society that's happening, and how they got to where they are. And the issue with that show, yes, I bring people on, but the point of it is that we have a proper discussion. It's not a dumpster fire. It's not a way of screaming at each other. It's, let's see how we got this to be as big as it is. How did we get there? So the way I choose them is what has been happening. Like, I think my first Iron Society was Myanmar, and what was happening as the dispute was happening in Myanmar. Then of course Belarus was a huge topic, and a friend of mine is actually in Belarus, and we had him on the stream to actually give a first-hand account of what it's like living there, and his history. Instead of me dictating what the history was, let's have him tell the history, and discuss what's happening. And from there, it's just things that go under the radar. These big, huge issues that not even in Ireland or the UK or America they're talking about. But they're huge, huge issues that are happening on a global scale. And why are they happening? That, for me as a sociologist, the big question is why? Why is this happening? So it's fun. It's weird to say big cataclysmic events is fun, but it is fun to do that research and to be able to present such an important thing. I have coming up after Christmas, I have a guy from Iran who is in Iran at the moment going to come on a stream to deal with the history of Iran and how that developed and how it became the hot topic that it is. And part of it is because I have worked in the Middle East for 18 months. I worked with the UN and the Red Cross for 18 months, working in different fields. So I got to know a lot of different people. I got a lot of different inputs. So having those contacts there to say, okay, can you inform me on how to explain this to people? And then I just put it into my own words. And you guys have to put up with it.
I think it's beautiful. I think like that last monologue you did is exactly what's going to sell you on getting out to nonprofits. So I was going to do that, try to plug it for you, but you that said it better than I could. No, you know what? About 5 years ago, I wish I had known you back then, because there was a populist president in another country that maybe we don't think about as often as we should, named Duterte. And I wish that I had someone who would look into that and be just as interested in that as I am. Because again, just because it doesn't happen right next door to us or within our own fences doesn't mean it's not something that is going to affect us. Yeah. And I love that you're willing to be such an educator, because how do we say this? I've known that you're going to be on the show for quite some time, and we've been talking quite a bit off and on for the past couple of months. Boy, if this past couple of months has not just been a very eye-opening session on just, like, I guess I'm not supposed to say UK when talking about all those countries in that chunk of the world over there. Apparently there's some tensions or something that I was unaware of. I'm putting this mildly, but yeah, the education is starting to come in that no, there's a lot of tension between Ireland and wow, touch on that.
There's not as much tension anymore, but it depends on where you are in the country. So Ireland is a very unique country where when you say Republican, a lot of people think right wing. Republicanism in Ireland, because of imperialism, developed with left wing rhetoric. It's still the same toxic bull, but it's I caught myself. But it's
It's been 2 minutes. It's been 2 minutes. You have the thumbs up now.
So what's happened is we had our revolution in 1916, but it went on till 1925. And then what's happened was the north of Ireland, the 6 counties in the north, were segued into the UK. So they were retained by the UK. It was a way of basically saying Britain has lost, but they're not giving up everything. And so ever since then, there has been tensions between the Catholic Ulsters and the Protestant Ulsters. And I know a friend of mine, Mathpig, is in the chat. He will tell you he's often, as an atheist, been asked, "But are you a Catholic atheist or a Protestant atheist?" This is a real issue. And now, because of Brexit, of course, tensions are heightened again, because what looks likely, if the UK government don't get their butts in gear and talk to the EU, what's likely is a hard border back in the north of Ireland, which is going to cause even more tensions and probably more violence. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can avoid it. But
And of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg, especially if it comes down to history. There's so much more that we could look into. Like, I gotta admit, the most that I've ever looked into Irish current events is by watching the movie Patriot Games about 30 years ago. So I know I'm severely lacking. But since I know I'm severely lacking, I have been trying to learn a little bit more with Krafty as a wonderful guide, who has introduced me to Irish music and Irish culture, and just giving me a better understanding of what's going on. But I want to put my money where my puck is, because I can't suggest that other people immerse in a culture and then not also do it myself, right? So we have a fun little experiment that we're going to have here, because it turns out that I am not very good at Irish names.
No, you're really not.
I'm not.
And it's hilarious.
And when we were talking about this, we came up with the idea, you know what? Let's see if I have gotten any better at Irish names. And I like most Americans, I know like a couple of the basics. I know Siobhan, and because there was a popular actress a while ago, I know Saoirse. But even then, I'm sure I say that wrong.
What's funny is
Saoirse rhymes with inertia, right?
You had a stream there a while ago where you asked me to name 2 characters in your game, and then the very next week you forgot how to pronounce the names.
I did. I didn't know how to, and it's because, okay, frankly, the spelling confuses me. Okay, and then, like, I've learned this: if there's a consonant followed by an H, you're doing something weird to that vowel, to that consonant sound. So we decided, you know what? Let's see if I've learned anything, and we've actually come up with a list of traditional Irish names. We're going to put them up on screen for those of you who are listening and not watching. I will actually spell it out for you as best I can. If I mess up on the spelling because I don't know how to say "I" with the little line over it, please correct me. So we're going to do it. We're going to go guess an Irish name. Let's see what the panel has brought for me.
Here we go.
Okay, I can make out letters. It is LAOIGHSEACH. I think I got that right.
Yes.
I'm going to say, okay, because it's the first thing that comes to mind, because it's an eye surgery here, is LASIK.
Very close.
Ooh,
very
okay.
close.
Okay, what is it, and how can I use the knowledge here to do better on the next name?
It's Leishik.
Leishik.
Yeah.
How do you get E out of AO? Leishik. Anyway, okay, 0 for 1. Let's try. Let's see what else we have.
Very good though.
Leishik. Drum roll. Oh my. RUAIDHRAIG. Is it just, are you trying to get as many H's in there as possible?
No, this is actually how my friend spells his name.
Okay, it looks like Rudrig. Or Riedrig.
No.
Not even close. Okay, what is it?
It's Rory.
How do you get Rory from? No, there's far too many consonants for that to be Rory.
That's Rory. Rory.
So the H is like canceling out the D and the G, and that's just Rory.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I'm warming up. One more. Let's go. Okay. If the H cancels out the consonant before, then we have...
That's a very simple one.
Oh, this is simple. You call this simple. It is O with an accent, R, F, H, Laith. And based on what we know about H's, I'm gonna guess Orly. Orly.
Very close.
Oh, good. I'm getting better.
That's Orla.
Orla.
Yeah.
Orla. Okay. And let's do one more. Let's do
one more.
Let's see if I can get this one. Please, I just want one.
I gave them a 10, so it's up to them which ones they choose.
Oh no. Let's see. It's
That's very straightforward. Come on now, Puck.
AIBHILI, and again, this is I with an accent on it.
This is so easy.
Oh, it's so easy. Sure, you see this name every day. I'm seeing this for the very first time. Okay, the H cancels out the island.
The H doesn't count it out when it's a B.
When it's a
or
B.
an M.
A B or an M.
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever I've seen a BH before, it made a V sound. So can we try Evelyn? Evelyn, well
done.
I got one. Oh, I have a lot to learn. And if anybody on the audience looked at that and realized they have a lot to learn too, looks like we have a fantastic teacher here who's willing to help us all with our Irish culture.